What's going on, guys? I got Joel from the Warp team here on the line. This is an exclusive feature, guys. Can't wait to have this conversation with you, Joel. How you doing today, brother?
Dude, so good. I'm doing great. Like, the markets are doing better. You know, it's kind of nice. We had a little bit of a weird month, and now we're heading into February. Things are looking green, and I'm excited. I'm stoked. It's good to be in crypto.
Yes, bro. I love that energy, and you know that's what I'm always looking for to have on our channel. So, guys, sit back, relax, and absorb this one because it's definitely one for the books. Joel, the first question that I'm gonna ask you before we start our first segment, can you please introduce your team?
So my name is Joel. My online handle is Call Me Jace. That's how people know. It's kind of funny. My name is Call Me Jace online, but my real name is Joel. So, you know, listen, it's just a thing. Just go with it. Quick background on me. I worked in Hollywood for about 10 years. I was in Los Angeles. I worked on a bunch of Marvel movies, Thor, Captain America, Iron Man, X-Men First Class, The Avengers. Gosh, what else did I do? I have an IMDb page. You can look me up. Worked in Los Angeles. It was really fun working on these movies. I started out as a compositor for a visual effects company, but then started working on set, on the lot, and it was a lot of fun. It was really great to work in film. Ironically, while I was working in film, people kept finding out I could do visual effects and post-production, and so they were like, hey, why don't we send you some of these visual effects shots instead of sending them all over the world? And so then I started a company, and we did stuff for Disney and Lego. We did more stuff for Marvel. We created Cheerio Craft, which is like Minecraft but for Cheerios. It was awesome. And then in 2013, we pivoted to doing virtual reality. So basically turned our whole company into a VR company and was there on the edge in VR LA, working on the Oculus DK2, then the early Vive prototypes and all that sort of stuff. And it was fun to develop in VR. And then after kind of that first little dip in VR, worked in advertising, and then came to crypto, and I have not looked back. I freaking love crypto. It's amazing. You know, films, you're looking at 2-year timelines, commercial projects, or even like, you know, shorter VR experiences were 2 to 3 months, and crypto's like, let's do something amazing in 2 weeks, you know, and it's really fun. It's really cool to be here. So that's quick background on me. The team I'm with, there's about 15 of us. There's 5 other people kind of in the leadership team. We've got an amazing algorithms guy. We've got our own in-house Solidity developer. We've got our Singaporean dead poet. He does multi-million-dollar TV contracts for the Olympics and Eurovision and all this other cool stuff. And then we've got an amazing front-end designer. And then all of us we've built Warp, that's what we're talking about today. And then we've got an amazing moderator team, community outreach team, it's graphic designers. I mean, it's a cool group. I mean, for a project we launched a week ago, or almost 6 days ago, you know, we've had an entire, you know, full development team working on this project for months. It's getting it ready for launch and actually launching it. It's been good. I'm really excited. I love this team. We build cool stuff.
Nice, Joel. Well, I can't wait to meet you guys. Yeah, I gotta say, man, you definitely went above and beyond there, and I love that. That's the kind of character and energy, as I said, that I love having on the channel, man. So don't ever change. Don't ever let someone tell you to change either. Okay, so yeah. So
learned it from the professor. He told me never change.
That's what's up, bro. All right, so my next question for you, brother, can you briefly describe what is Warp Bond? We would love to know more about it and how it works. I mean, I went over your website very quickly. Definitely something that caught my eye, and I said, you know what, I really want to pick this guy's brain. So, Joel, tell me all about it, brother.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Warp is a project we just launched on Polygon, our first season on Polygon 6 days ago. Ecosystem's up and running great. We have an amazing community, amazing list of partners, all this stuff. You can check out our partners page. I mean, we've got some truly world-class partners, and there's a lot of hype and energy around Warp, primarily because what we're doing is we're taking the idea of these reserve currencies, you know, the reserve currency protocols like Olympus DAO, they were one of the first ones to pioneer this, and then others have come, and we've learned a lot from what the pitfalls and the downsides are to these Olympus DAO and the Ohm forks that have come out. You know, the Ohm forks recently have been kind of taking, and a lot of people have been looking at them with a new light, trying to figure out, okay, what do they do? We've taken all of that and we've added on a whole new element to it that basically creates it solves a lot of the pitfalls of the protocol, but then it also creates huge ROI opportunities that don't primarily evolve around staking and bonding to create much more of a holistic approach to crypto. So we inside of Warp, we have the DeFi elements, the classic staking, bonding, all that sort of stuff. We have the Gamefi elements, which come through our NFT starships that travel to multiple planets, and Starship battles that's launching in a couple weeks. And then we have the whole NFT collection component. There's so many amazing degens out there getting in these NFT projects, taking advantage of all the different collections and the rarity attributes and buying and selling. And we're adding these with these starships that are created, by me, world-class visual effects artist, making these starships that actually have these utility and function inside of our ecosystem. So we've got DeFi, GameFi, NFT collections, and they're all working holistically together in a way that's sustainable, in a way that creates a long runway for the project and for the people who come in as investors. So just top-level overview, that's kind of what we're doing. I'd love to break it down and talk specifically about what makes it special if you're interested in hearing. I imagine you are.
Absolutely. I mean, if you want to skim over it very quickly, I mean, just out of interest in being concise with time and everything,
Yep.
if you want to, scrape the surface, skim through it, if you want. But before you do that, what I'm going to do is read out my next question to see if you want to tie them both together, okay? My next question is, what are the main features that distinguish you from other DeFi projects, and what competitive advantages do you have? So maybe you can elaborate on the previous question while also answering this question at the same time, Joel. What do you think about that?
I love it. I mean, those two things are synonymous, right? Because it is what gives us a competitive advantage, what gives us a long runway, especially with the idea of seasons, ties into what makes us distinct. So talking about what, like, the top three things that make Warp distinct. The first thing is that we offer multiple staking pools in our ecosystem. These utilize the same token. It's not like you're taking different tokens and you're staking in different pools. For us, it's the same token, but it's wrapped in a sci-fi universe, and the idea that each staking pool is represented as a planet inside of our ecosystem. You guys know the DeFi stuff. The more people in a staking pool, the less amount that you receive as a reward, right? Because there's more people splitting those rewards, especially in these Olympus protocols where there's rebasing and all that stuff. Every 8 hours, the whole ecosystem is audited, and okay, there's more people, we're reducing the reward. Well, what happens is, in our ecosystem, we release new planets that are only accessible by NFT starships that you earn through bonding. So that's our second distinction I'll talk about in a second. But each of these staking pools represents an entirely new virgin pool where you're going to be able to travel to it using your starship, and then you can deposit your tokens there, and you can earn a distinct APY that fluctuates not based off of the entire ecosystem, but by how many people are staking on that planet. Every 10 days, we're releasing a new planet in our ecosystem, and during our first season, which means that if you're the first one there, you sent your starship over there and you're one of the first people to stake, you're taking advantage of huge APYs, just like as if you were able to get in on a token when it first launches and there's nobody in the pool, right? There's always huge rewards, huge APYs being given out to people there. This is what's happening inside of our ecosystem every 10 days when a new planet is discovered. Now, the cool thing about that, and the reason why we're working to build a sustainable project, is the only way to get to those planets is you have to have a starship. These starships are created through the bonding process, which is distinction 2. So when you bond at $250 or more, you get an NFT part, a hull, a bridge, or an engine. And the strength of that part is determined by the amount that you bond. So if you bond at $500, you get a 500-point NFT piece. You can combine those 3 NFT parts, and then you fuel it using a fuel cell, which is the 4th part of the ecosystem. And then you can create that starship, fuel it up, and send it to the next planet. And the cool thing is that all of these NFT parts are tradable on OpenSea. You can buy and sell them. We have a secondary marketplace that's already been kicking off of people buying, selling, trading these parts because they're trying to assemble their starships to get ready for our first planet to release and the upcoming starship battles that we announced yesterday. And the cool thing is that now when you fuel that starship up, you expend fuel as you travel, which means that to refuel your starship, to continue to take advantage of all these different APYs inside of our planet ecosystem, you actually have to get to bond more. Somebody has to bond more, right? In order, if they're selling it on OpenSea, in order to be able to fuel your Starship, meaning that over time, the incentivization to bond, to grow the treasury, which backs a token and give investor confidence, continues to remain strong, because people are going to want to use their fuel, want to use their Starships as the ecosystem grows and expands. So a lot of these other ohm forks and projects that have come along, they don't have a reason to continue to bond, especially if bond discounts start to get into the negatives, right? But when you add fuel component and you add a Starship component, now there's a reason. In Starship battles, we add in the idea of damage that you can take to your Starship, but you can win die. And so you need to repair your Starship. Repairing also means creating those bonds, which helps grow the treasury and continue to back the project. So basically, those kind of main key distinctions in our first season are really the things that have started us off on this path of being very different than the rest of these other projects that have come and just duplicated the ohm environment, and then they run out of things to do, right? Because there's no longer a incentive to bond or an incentive to stake.
Dude, that sounds so lit. Oh my god, that sounds so lit, man. I want to play this game so bad. Are you kidding? Like, I can get die from those? Like, let's go, bro. Like, that sounds sick. All right, so that leads me into my next question. I see that you've made some major partnerships. And again, this is something that caught my eye, for everyone listening. I always say that it's a major green light for investors, that kind of thing, whatever the case may be. But with you guys, what is the importance of Warp bringing in other communities and retaining their identity?
This is actually one of the coolest things that gets me hyped about our project. The idea of, let's talk about seasons real quick, right? So seasons are really important for Warp. A lot of these projects, they just create roadmaps and they add this feature and that feature and this feature and all that sort of thing. With us, with the idea of seasons, is we're launching every quarter, or even in a mid-season update like we're doing with the Starship battles. What's happening is now you have an entire ecosystem, new features, new functionalities, new NFTs, new planets that are being added in a complete, in a feature complete status to the entire community, dropped at once. So our partnerships that we've made, these aren't just glamour partnerships. We're not just saying, hey, you post about us, we post about you. Each one of the partners list on our page, and we've got a lot. I mean, if you look at it, we've got Polygon, Synapse, we've got Tomb Finance, we've got PolyDoge, we've got BV Finance, Yell, Yield Enhancement Labs, GDAO, Frax, like all of these amazing DeFi, multi-billion-dollar DeFi projects and chains. And then we've got NFT partners, Galactic Gang, Gojira, Polypunks, all that stuff. And what we're doing is we're actually introducing in our second season the idea of community factions. And what that means is how it'll work. You come to our web app, you'll sign a transaction on the blockchain, just like if you sign to approve a token or to vote in a DAO or whatever it is, right? You'll sign a transaction saying, hey, I'm a part of this faction. And then the cool thing is we can actually grant or restrict access to you to travel to different planets, to do different things, depending on what faction you're a part of. So if you want to head to, let's just pick Tomb, right? Tomb Finance, they're a project. I mean, this is the cool thing that gets me so hyped. Tomb Finance is a project on the Phantom Opera network. Galactic Gang is an NFT series on Ethereum. We've got Beefy Finance, which is on Binance, and a bunch of other chains, right? And all of them are all interacting together in the same ecosystem, which is really cool. A lot of these crypto projects, they operate in silos. They don't have this connected metaverse idea. For us, with these community factions, you're going to be a part of the Tomb faction. And the cool thing is, if you're out there doing Starship battles, winning die, you can enable faction sharing. What faction sharing means is that when you win, you're actually sharing your rewards with everyone else in your faction, right? So then when we, on our leaderboard, you'll see like, here's Tomb Finance right here on the top. Here's the number of Starships in their ecosystem or in a part of their faction. Here's how much money they've distributed to their community in the last week. Here's the number of winning Starships that are in there. And we're going to see these tier rankings. And the cool thing is instead of it being like the generic Earth faction, the generic Mars faction, the generic Pirate faction, now we actually have Beefy Finance versus Polypunks versus Project Gojira versus Synapse, and we have all these different communities that are all showing up inside of the Warp Metaverse, right? And when you come to our Discord, you'll see people can self-assign roles. So we actually, looking at our general chat right now, we have people from Axion talking to people from Tomb, talking to people from Galactic Gang. And that's like really cool, because what we're doing is we're allowing those communities to come in, continue to rep their community, continue to promote their community inside of our ecosystem, and then earn with their community. So there's going to be a sense of ownership for people who are coming in. So not only can you play the Gamefi, right? Not only can you have the starships and you have staking and multiple planets and starship battles and NFT collections, but now we have factions coming up in literally a month and a half, looking at my calendar, that is going to basically allow you to join these factions. And then you can travel to like the Tomb planet, for example, themed in the Tomb ecosystem. And we've worked with each one of our DeFi partners to start to look into opportunities to be able to utilize their tokens or their ecosystems within Warp as a, a destination. So like, let's say everybody is, we say, hey, everybody come fly over to the Gajira planet or the Gajira moon at this time. We do a snapshot of all the starships that are currently docked there. We can do all kinds of cool things for these starships for the people who are there as a result of kind of physicalizing their location. So when it comes to what we're building, we started out really kind of as an Olympus DAO, like just kind of a reserve currency, building that treasury sort of thing. But where we're headed is a hub for a lot of these crypto projects, communities, and people to be able to earn and play together in a way that's super exciting. So all of our partners have seen that vision, and they're all really excited.
Absolutely, I'm very excited about it, Joel. Yeah, it sounds epic, man. That leads me to my next question. I see that Warp is essentially positioning itself as a DeFi hub set in a sci-fi setting. So that leads me to ask, what is Warp's vision on being a DeFi metaverse? What do you think about that, Joel?
Yeah, that's definitely kind of a bit of really what we just talked about. One of the things I actually want to do real quick, let me just go ahead. I'm just going to do a hard refresh to show you kind of basically how we, how the system is built. Okay, so here we go. So here's our dashboard, right? So you come to our dashboard. The cool thing about our dashboard is like all of these windows are rearrangeable and repositionable, so you can kind of choose how you want your dashboard layout to be, including selecting from kind of some different kind of themes that we have built in right now. We have the Starship layout, we also have the Captain layout, all that stuff. But the cool thing, we talk about building a metaverse, right? So first thing it starts with is a really cool UI. We wanted something that felt completely different from Olympus protocols. It felt very different from all these other projects. So you can see here, like on our staking page, right? So this is running live right now. As of this recording, the only planet right now available is Earth. So everybody in our ecosystem is all staking on Earth. You can see we have a 5-day ROI of about 8% going on. But as soon as this second planet, which is Proxima B, as soon as it is released, the cool thing is we're going to see all of these starships start traveling over there and being a part of that planet. Because for us right now, we are, 2 days, 21 hours away from Starship factories unlocking. There aren't any starships on the Earth except for our first giveaway ship. But you'll see down here where it says ships docked, each one of these different starships, you're going to see the number of ships docked going up and down. So as you choose where you want to stake, how you want to travel, you're going to find the number of starships of that planet is going to give you an idea as what the next APY is going to be like during a rebase. So you can kind of make your strategic decisions there. And if you come over to the map, right now, again, we only have one planet, but if we were to select the Earth and then I was to select my starship that I have here, the first edition ship, I would be able to then, select a planet and engage in a jump. But that's not set up right now. I should have brought this in the testing environment, but you guys get the idea. As each new planet is released in our ecosystem, that's going to allow you to travel around. So when we're talking about building a metaverse in our second season, right, what we're doing is we're actually going to be bringing in these destination planets, these partner planets and moons that will allow you to be able to travel to different places, dock at different planets as a part of that idea that planets and DeFi functionalities are actually destinations, and we can do really cool things when they're destinations. If I was to come here to our hangar tab, right, you can see here's our different parts, our hull, our bridge, an engine, and a fuel cell. Right now I just have one part, a 251 value bridge, mint number 316. And the cool thing is if I come up here to manage your starships, you can see this would be where I would be able to showcase all the different starships that I have. I can find out more information about it. I can rename them here. here, which is really cool. And then building a Starship, again, our Starship factory is currently offline, but I would be able to select each one of these different parts that I've accumulated, build my Starship, name it, and then come over here to the fuel center and be able to refuel it in order to make a jump or to continue to participate in each of the different parts in the ecosystem. And then, of course, the bonds. You guys are familiar with the bonding process. We have warp, LP, and MI, and this is just, you're creating these bonds here, but if you look, we have a qualifying bond part, and that will let you know when you decide to bond at different levels what the strength of your part's going to be and whether or not you qualify. So talking about Metaverse is kind of related, right? Because we wanted to build a really unique, a brand new interface designed from the ground up for Warp, for our Starship captains coming in here to be able to find all the different information they need about the ecosystem. You can see here, another thing that makes us unique is we have a deflationary method. We do a 5% burn fee on all cells, and if you unstake before 4 hours, so to prevent people doing rebase hopping, then you also lose 2% there. But you can see we've just launched and we've already burned 56 entire tokens, which is really cool, right? To have that deflationary measures at the beginning so that we're controlling kind of our inflation, our overall inflation goals. And so all of this interface, right, is building towards the idea of like, there is stuff that is coming, right? When we unlock factions, the factions will show up as a tab here on our interface that will allow you to choose a faction, see the leaderboards, all that sort of stuff, and then as well as ship battles. So when you engage in a starship battle, the quality and strength of your starship is going to be determined in the tier that you qualify for, and then there'll be a component of luck, of ship strength, of the amount of wins or losses that you've had in order to make it fun and engaging. We really want a Luke Skywalker versus the Death Star sort of example where you can win up against a very, very strong foe and still have fun doing it and have a chance to earn. And because we want to keep the warp token very valuable, we're giving out DAI, we're giving out MI, we're giving out stable coin rewards instead of just distributing more of our token, because we want to keep the warp token itself very valuable and very lucrative for the people who are continuing to hold it. So when you talk about building all this Metaverse stuff, for us, the UI is really important, the design is really important, the graphics. I'll just showcase real quick. If I go over here to the ships page, you can see here's all the different starships in our ecosystem. We actually got to update it because now all of our starships are released, but you can see each one of these starships as a part of a 10,000 series mint, and each one is visually unique. So not only do you have the starship itself that is a part of the NFT series mint, but then the components that made it. So if you're bonding at $500 or $1,000, you're going to have a very strong, very unique starship. And if you get minted like the pirate ship down here, because there's only 500 of them in an ecosystem of 10,000, it's going to be even more rare and potentially more valuable if you want to sell that starship. The cool thing about the NFTs themselves is that we actually store their planet location, we store the amount of wins that they've had in a starship battle, how much fuel is in it, its current damage, its strength, all that stuff is stored in the NFT. So if you were to buy an NFT that's a prize-winning starship, you can carry on with some of the way that the starship battles work, keeping that that winning starship kind of in your fleet. So there's really a lot of when it comes to the idea of a metaverse, right? It isn't just a metaverse isn't just one thing. There are projects out there calling themselves these metaverse projects, and they just do one thing. For us, we're doing so many different ways. If you think about like the ROI perspective, you're coming in right now in season 1. It's pretty lucrative for people. You buy a bond, right? When you buy that bond, you're getting tokens, and if you buy at 250 or more, you're also getting an NFT. Well, what you can do is, let's say you bought at 250, you get a 250 part NFT. You're still getting that discount as a part of the bonding process. You're still getting those tokens trickled to you. You can stake them to earn even more. But then you have that NFT that you can sell on OpenSea, that part, and you can sell that part for $200, right? Because it's $50 savings for somebody else who wants to buy it. So now you've made money from the bond process, you've made money from selling an NFT part, and then you can use those funds that you've gained through staking and the discount, and you can buy back into the system and get a stronger part, and then sell that part, right? And then we have starship battles with the idea of winning these stable coins as a part of the battles, and then we have season 2 coming with starship factions. Season 3 brings carrier ships and multiple galaxies. And the ecosystem is ever going to expand, and the starships that you get here in season 1 will always be usable all the way up in every future season that we have. So there's it's kind of a complex ecosystem, but that's the important part about building a metaverse, is to look at how are all the different ways that people can interact in our system, make a profit, because it's GameFi and crypto and we all want to make money, and then do it in a way that's actually fun. You know, I think that's the big thing about GameFi is that GameFi needs to be fun, and we hope that Warp is fun. That was a very long description. I hope I answered your question.
Hey, you definitely answered my question, Joel, and never too long, as I say, man. The more information, the better. We eat this shit up, man. I gotta say, good explanation. So, last question I have for you here, man. A lot of major DeFi projects are seeing gamification of DeFi as the future. Now, does Warp have any plans for this? I know you briefly touched on it a little bit, but I thought I'd ask the full question anyway.
Yeah, I think, when people look at what is like DeFi 3.0, DeFi 1 was, Ethereum launched smart contracts, Binance Smart Chain brought contracts, all that stuff. And all of a sudden people were able to start to do stuff with code, right, and software. A lot of people were saying stuff like Olympus DAO and, so a lot of these, yield farming protocols. What was DeFi 2.0, and I really think like the next generation of DeFi, whether you would call it DeFi 3.0 or whatever, right, all of that sort of stuff is taking the idea of these DeFi investing and yield farming and earning and ROI, all that sort of stuff, and then making it fun and making it cross-chain, cross-community. I think that's something that Warp is really pioneering, and each one of our partners that we've brought in, and they've brought us in, right? Each one of these partnerships, we all see the benefits of being cross-chain and cross-community. It used to be, you were a Phantom Opera diehard or an Avalanche diehard or an Ethereum diehard or whatever, and now with the advent of bridges and all these other like cross-connection sort of things, the individual chain itself is starting to matter less. And now these projects are going, hey, we shouldn't develop in silos. We should all work together and do really cool things together. And that, I think, is, to me, where GameFi is really going to come about. It's not just going to be fun, but that is a major component of it, but it's also going to be cross-chain, cross-community, and starting to see a lot of these other projects all come together and work together and build really cool things together. And so the fact that Warp is already turning into a hub of that, we're seeing it on our Discord and Telegram. We've obviously got it on our faction, our Season 2 roadmap. But having these partnerships of people who are saying, hey, you guys are on Polygon, but that doesn't stop us from wanting to work together, I think is really cool. And so talking about GameFi, it's got to be fun, it's got to be rewarding, there's got to be ways to earn money and have a great time doing it, and also then to bring in other communities and really expand on that Metaverse idea. The Metaverse is going to come because we're all interacting together. So it's cool stuff. We're really excited.
Awesome, Joel. Well, thank you very much for your time, sir. We really appreciate you having you on the channel, man. You give us a lot of valuable information today on your project, and I think that we have some really strong key takeaways in terms of places to start on our own due diligence and maybe interest at all in playing the game. Definitely, if you're asking me, my interest is definitely invested, and this is something that I'm going to be looking over, and we'd love to cover you guys again if the opportunity ever arises, or if you have updates or anything like that, so thanks again, Joel. We really appreciate your time. Was there anything else you wanted to say before we end the call?
Yeah, definitely just check us out. Our website is warp.bond. Our Discord is awesome, discord.gg/warpbond. There's a whole crew of us all in there. We're all having fun doing stuff together. Crypto breeds on its community, and we have a really cool cross-chain, cross-community community that's happening here on our Discord. And so come check it out. There's a lot of cool stuff. The idea of seasons and starships, and it's fun. I think we got the biggest compliment when somebody said, I feel like you've gotten all the different things that make crypto fun, and you've like pinpointed it right in the center. And I think that's really cool. I think it's really cool to get that feedback. So come check us out. Let us know what your thoughts are, and we look forward to seeing you in Warp.
Sounds good, brother. Sounds good. Thanks again for joining us. Have yourself a great evening, man. Take care.
Thank you, Professor. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.